if you're going through a heavy so-called autoimmune disease, like Epstein-Barr virus, shingles, streptococcus, and many, many more, there are actually a lot of things you can do in healing and curing yourself with time. So this is not hopeless. You can do a lot of things, which I will jump to in a second. Then I will also conclude with what you can do about. There are some circumstances and factors in life that you cannot change. And before I'm getting into this, let me just give you an outlook of my symptoms that I have been undergoing and still am undergoing to some extent after facing a heavy Epstein-Barr virus infection breakout around 4 months ago. And this is not hopeless. In my case, I had to go to the hospital because I was feeling dizzy, hardcore headaches, even stroke-like dizziness, brain fog, memory loss, enormous fatigue, and then at some point I couldn't see on my left eye, so I had to go urgently to the hospital in order to get checked with a suspicion of having like a stroke or even a heart attack or something. Luckily that didn't turn out, so in the end I was lucky. This was not the case. However, I had to then go through a lot of testing and until I came out with the results what I actually had, meaning a heavy Epstein-Barr infection, which I have been working on tremendously now in changing my lifestyle in terms of stress, food supplements, and so on and so forth. But long story short, the symptoms I was basically facing, and this is where I'm literally touching you and not losing hope and making it through, is you're not alone. Because there are many other people like me and you out there that are facing the same symptoms or have been facing. Meaning, what did I have mainly? Well, starting from top to bottom, I had a lot of pain, headache, like dizziness, brain fog, but the brain headache was really attached also to my neck and wouldn't go away, and it was also a burning kind of headache. So it was always going back and forth to the head and to the back, which before I went to the hospital gave me a lot of fear that I might have a tumor or brain cancer and so on, cancer of any sort, which luckily didn't turn out, but that was one of my heaviest symptoms. Then also, of course, a lot of brain fog, dizziness, lack of concentration, struggling really to have a clear thought, really inner nervousness, being fatigued, tired all the time without energy. Also, I was not always able to articulate myself in the way I wanted to, meaning I had struggled really to express myself, finding the right words. That was only for a couple of days though. But also what I noticed is I sometimes really had blurry vision, more on the left side than on the right. And I couldn't really look into any light. I mean, my sensibility changed tremendously in terms of visibility, but also in terms of hearing and smelling. I lost more my smelling sense, which is also now starting to come back. I had tinnitus to some extent when the kids were gelling, or the TV was too noisy, or I just heard too many noises. I just couldn't really take it. I right away had a headache again, tinnitus, and then again, if the lights were too strong and I looked into it, it was just for me too much to take in. So other than that, which this last problem also made it quite problematic working on the computer, because I had to look always into the UV, ultraviolet light, which made it worse. So I ended up buying an Amazon protection, UV protection glasses that really helped me being able to work and read something on the computer or do something on the computer without having a headache or struggling concentrating and so on and so forth. But then going on, what else did I have? In the top here, my throat was sore sometimes while being or healing, curing to some extent from Epstein-Barr. I really I felt my immune system was so much down that I was getting more illnesses in the time, like grippe, like the influenza and other sorts of bacteria in my throat. I noticed my lymphs here, lymphatics, they were swollen more than regular, or generally they were swollen. I had chest pain, back pain, also arm pain. Of course, I couldn't do any sports anymore for a lot of time. I felt also my pulse, my heartbeat was really going down, especially at night, but also during the day, which is also correlated to the fatigue and the, just tiredness and no lack of energy. And I could also feel within the correlation of my inner nervous system, and let's say my nervous system being attacked, that I didn't really have heart palpitations, but I could really feel my pulse and really feel how my chest and heart is beating with a lower rate, and that it was like my whole body is like super sensible, and it's easy to to feel any pain, and as I said, also related with the hypersensibility. Stomach pain I didn't really have, since I was luckily drinking lots of celery juice right since the beginning of the EBV infection. So what else did I have? Let me think. I was also struggling. Unluckily, next to Epstein-Barr is in the worst phase that I faced. This is a very strong virus entering the nervous system and basically inflaming all your central nervous system nerves. And I didn't have vertigo. I mean, my vagus nerve wasn't really inflamed, but what I had though is I had really itchy, tingly hands and feet, and to some extent they were also deaf or really itchy during nights when I was sleeping, when I wasn't really moving around. So that was also quite negative. On top of that, I was always really cold. I could feel really like the cold is everywhere. Sometimes I was sitting at home. If I didn't lie in bed and instead on the computer, for example, I was putting lots of jackets on, and symptoms like that. So that's pretty much my experience, and for you and not to lose hope in what you can do and you can't do, let me tell you quickly or give you a glimmer of light. There's a lot you can do. What you cannot do is you cannot reduce radiation of the world. We all face radiation, some more, some less. Of course, you can use less radiative gadgets. I mean, don't use your phone so much, a computer, notebooks, and so on, whatever. But let's say the environmental radiation that every one of us facing, you can't barely avoid. Then viruses and other pathogens you cannot avoid. These are everywhere in our world. Then DDT or let's say poisons that we are facing in our world, you cannot really avoid via food, the air, the pollution, and so on and so forth. These are things, unless you live in an isolated island without any, let's say, pollution, healthy lifestyle, and then a closed environmental ecological system, you cannot really avoid. But what you can do for sure, which is helping avoid and making the virus get stronger instead, killing it off, is avoid stress, change your lifestyle to more healthiness. One symptom I forgot is, that was also quite heavy for me, is sleepless nights. A lot of sleepless nights I had in terms of irregular sleep, couldn't really fall asleep or was waking up a lot. This correlates perfectly with inner nervous. Besides stress reducing, basically what you can do is ensure you have proper sleep, a lot of rest, drink lots of water, eat fresh, natural stuff. Avoid any eggs, dairy products, change your whole, I mean, make your own analysis about what you should or shouldn't eat, but go to a more vegan-based food intake. A lot of veggies, a lot of fruit, a lot of fruits. Try to sleep regularly. Be out in the fresh air and the sunlight as much as you can, but not too much, of course. Take care of yourself. Then also look, besides just the normal food intake, how you can advance by taking supplements. Vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin B, magnesium, zinc, selene. There are so many things you can naturally, naturally or by supplements take in order to get well. So that you should do, for sure as well, or at least consider. And then also consider taking as much time as needed for yourself. I mean, really talking for yourself. I know it can be hard and difficult if you're older, if you're lonely, if you're living with families, having kids. In order to assess how you can really take that time off for you or for yourself as much as needed, also related to work. But I mean, I'm just telling you, health, you only have your health once it's down the hill. I mean, it's priceless, really. Telling you from my own experience, the health is priceless. So you got to take care of yourself, and by being as natural as possible, taking your time and looking at foods, also at very natural foods. I mean, if you have a garden and you can really seed and plant your own veggies, your own fruits, do it, man. These are the best, most nutritious, most healing fruits and food that you can take.